Throwing the divorce papers at me, he exclaimed, "You're such a leech. At 40 and still only earning $2,000 a month? I'm off to build a happy life with my lover." I was so shocked I couldn't find any words to reply. My name is Emily, and I'm 40 years old. I work part-time at a supermarket. I've been married to Jake for about 8 years. Jake graduated from a prestigious university and briefly worked for a private company. We met at his former workplace. 5 years ago, I worked at the same company as Jake. Back then, he was a young man freshly graduated. We belonged to the same office and spent our days working together. Initially, we were just colleagues working together, but gradually we began to pay more attention to each other. We confirmed our feelings for each other and decided to walk into the future together. After that, we got married and took a new step as a couple. Our relationship, which changed from colleagues to spouses, became a source of support and growth for each other, both at work and in our private lives. About a year into our marriage, Jake suggested I quit my job and become a homemaker, which made me both happy and anxious. However, I decided to take comfort in Jake's warm words. The longing to dedicate myself to household duties had always been in the depths of my heart. The thought of leaving work to focus on my family and build a happy home inspired me. I'm home.
Oh, you're home quite early today, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I finished up early. So, what's for dinner?
Today, it's Jake's favorite, meatloaf.
Yay! Oh, if you're free, could you clean the bathroom? Sorry, I'm a bit tired. I want to lie down.
Oh, okay. Then, take a rest.
Thinking he must be really tired from work, I decided to clean the bathroom myself. When I was about to tell him the bath was ready, I found Jake playing games on the couch. Internally, I was irritated, but I couldn't complain to someone who had been working all day. Moreover, I depend on his earnings for our livelihood. With these thoughts, I started dinner. Jake was acting strange. Normally, he would eat his favorite meatloaf with the enthusiasm of a child, but today, he hardly touched it.
Is everything okay? You seem different today. Did something happen at work?
Yeah, a bit. Had a slight disagreement with my boss.
Is it serious? What happened?
Well, it's complicated, but the atmosphere at the company has been changing lately. I'm not getting along with my boss.
That's worrying. Do you know what the cause is?
To be honest, recently, my own ambitions and the company's direction don't align.
So, what are you going to do? Look for a new job?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I'm torn about it right now.
But quitting suddenly is worrying. You should find another job first. We need to think about the future.
Yeah, I know. But it might be impossible under the current circumstances.
I see. But it's okay. If Jake has decided, I'll support him. Let's start looking for a new job.
Despite my reservations about Jake quitting his job, I had to support his decision. Without finding a new job first, he decided to quit. A few days after he quit, I saw his true colors. One day, after finishing my part-time job, I went to check on my in-laws. They've been feeling worse lately, so I visit them 2 to 3 times a week.
How are you feeling? You seem particularly unwell lately. Oh, it's nothing. I'm fine, just feeling a bit heavy. But I think doing household chores and taking care of your husband is tough. You shouldn't overdo it. I'm really sorry to worry about you. But I'm not feeling too well myself, and there's no one else to rely on, so if you could help out a bit more, I'd be grateful. Of course. I'll help with the chores as much as I can, so please don't overdo it and make sure to rest. Thank you for worrying about us. Of course. We're family, after all. We should help each other out. Don't overdo it, Emily. Yes, thank you. What's wrong? Emily, you look troubled.
Oh, Jake recently quit his job. He says he's looking for work, but since he quit, he's just been lounging around the house. I'm worried, but I don't know what to do.
Really? I didn't know. That is worrying. He's just lazing around because he quit his job?
Yes, he barely moves, just watches TV or plays games. When I talk to him, he seems to have no motivation.
That's not good. Given his personality, he's unlikely to take action. You should get him to start something new soon.
I know, but it's hard to bring it up. I feel it's more important for Jake to realize and act on his own rather than me worrying.
It might not be the best time to say this, but actually, there's something I've been wanting to tell you, Emily. You probably haven't heard it from Jake, have you? What is it? Something from the past? Yes, about Jake. He's not as serious as he seems. That's his true nature. Not serious? What do you mean? We paid for him to attend a good university. The company he left was actually thanks to his father's connections. Why?
Since high school, Jake didn't participate in activities or part-time jobs. He just played games at home all the time. As expected, his grades were poor, and he couldn't get into college or find a job. So, we had no choice but to pay.
I see. So, I've been discussing with him about taking over my company for a while now, but he shows no signs of wanting to work at all. What should we do? Really? That would make us feel more secure if Jake stayed close and helped out. My condition might take some time to improve, and we need to start seriously thinking about the future of the company. Could you talk to him about it? That makes sense. It would make our lives easier, and this might be a good opportunity to talk to Jake. Please talk to him, and also, tell him to come visit us. It's been a while. All right. I'll talk to Jake. I'll try to bring him with me next time. Thank you, as always.
Filled with hope that Jake would break free from his lethargic lifestyle and start to show some growth, I headed home. However, what awaited me was something I could never have imagined.
I'm home. Sorry, I got late because I went to see your mom and dad. You know, he said.
Before that, could you make dinner quickly? Jake, sprawled on the sofa, made this thoughtless remark to me, who was overwhelmed with work and caregiving. Thinking he must be really hungry, I quickly prepared dinner. During the meal, I brought up today's topic.
Today, your dad suggested that you consider taking over his company. It might make our lives a bit easier if Jake worked. What do you think?
Huh? Work? That sounds like a hassle. That's something average people do. All jobs are boring anyway, so there's no need to work. I have my parents' money, so why bother working when we can get by without it?
But they're worried about us.
If you're so concerned, why don't you work? Oh, but that's probably impossible, right? Shocked by his insensitive and absurd response, I found myself at a loss for words and decided not to continue the conversation about it any further. The next day, as I was consumed with housework, work, and caregiving for my in-laws, Jake came home holding a luxury brand item. He seemed blissfully unaware of my struggles and exhaustion, prioritizing his own pleasure and finding joy in acquiring luxurious items. To me, this scene was nothing but irresponsible and selfish behavior. Jake's indifferent attitude only further wounded my heart. Confused, I asked him, "What's that?" With confidence, Jake replied, "This is the latest Gucci bag. Check out this design and texture, isn't it great?" For the first time, I challenged him, shocked.
Why? Our financial situation is tight. Why would you buy such an expensive item?
Jake shrugged lightly and said, "Well, you might be right, but this is a reward for myself. Maybe you should indulge in luxury sometimes to relax too?" Disappointed, I shook my head. "I'm swamped with housework and part-time jobs, not to mention caring for your parents. I don't have time or money for myself. Can you please start working soon, Jake? It would make our lives a bit easier." My anger reached its boiling point. Yet, it seemed not to affect him. Okay, don't be so mad. I'll think it over, he said, then retreated to the bedroom as if to escape, and went to sleep. Over the next few days, Jake, who had no job, frequently went out, always returning home with a smile around dinner time. Hey, I spent quite a bit today, so, can you lend me some cash? My parents have been really stingy lately. They even stopped me from using the card. Seriously? There's no way I'm lending you money. We're already getting help with rent as a thank you for the caregiving I do for your parents. I'm barely making ends meet with my own salary, which is about $2,000, living with you. Do you understand? Jake, frustrated with the situation, lashed out. Making only $2,000 at 40? That's laughable. What happened to the money I used to bring in? You probably wasted it all, didn't you? Your lack of homemaking skills is the problem. Excuse me? How dare you say that in your position? Unbelievable. Forget it. I'm going to build a happy life with my mistress. I'm out. Mistress? Without listening to my attempts to reason, Jake suddenly pulled out a divorce paper from the study and threw it at me. Shocked by his affair, the divorce paper being thrown at me, and overwhelmed by the daily stress and exhaustion, I fainted on the spot. The next day, having regained some calm, I made a decision. Taking the divorce papers Jake had thrust at me, filled with deep sadness and anger, I signed them, determined to plan my revenge against my husband. That night, I rushed to my in-laws and, holding back tears, confessed Jake's affair and his disrespectful behavior. My father-in-law and mother-in-law listened to my story, their faces a mix of shock and anger. After a moment of silence, my father-in-law spoke. We had no idea Emily was suffering so much. We're truly sorry for not noticing. I nodded in gratitude, wiping away my tears. I'm so sorry to have worried you. But I can't bear it any longer. This is the divorce paper. Go ahead. Emily, you're part of our family. A piece of paper won't change that. We're always on your side. With a heavy sigh, my father-in-law began to talk about Jake's behavior. I can't believe he acted this way. We won't support him anymore. To think he used the card we gave him for emergencies like this. It's like throwing money down the drain. I was surprised and stirred by my father-in-law's firm tone and strict stance. Emily, we're here to support you. If you ever need anything, just let us know. Thank you so much. Holding back tears, I showed my gratitude for the warm words from my father-in-law and mother-in-law. Surprised by an unexpected declaration from my father-in-law, who seemed to have made up his mind, I was at a loss for words for a moment. That's it, Emily. Would you consider taking over my company? My heart was filled with confusion and hesitation. I had never considered taking over a company, and I lacked confidence in meeting my father-in-law's expectations. But I began in a bewildered voice, but he cut me off. Emily, you have the capability. You have shown great responsibility, managing both household and work, and even taking care of us. There's no one else but you to take over our company. You have the qualities needed, and most importantly, you are trustworthy. I pondered over his words. Despite initially deciding to refuse, his sincere attitude and the trust he placed in me warmed my heart. I finally made up my mind. Okay. Please let me take over. I'll do my best. A look of relief spread across my father-in-law's face as he accepted my decision and showed a genuine smile. Thank you, Emily. Having you take over the company is a great relief for us. We will support you thoroughly, so let's work hard together. I thanked him for his words and renewed my determination for the future. Jake was in a desperate situation. He faced the consequences of his misdeeds, struggling financially. The breakdown of our marriage and the loss of support from his parents left him wandering in confusion and despair. One day, Jake visited his parents' house. Despite the anguish on his face, he had hoped to borrow money with a casual attitude. His parents were shocked but also looked at him with sympathy. Jake, it's been a while. What brings you here? Jake sighed deeply and slumped down.
Actually, I'm in dire need of a large sum of money. Why do you need so much money all of a sudden? Weren't you taken care of until now?
Hesitating, Jake began to explain his situation.
I've run out of money, and I'm in debt, with nowhere to go. I'm barely conscious. Please help me.
So that's why you came back? But no. Absolutely not. What? Please, there must be some money you can lend. There's no money for you. Have you ever done anything to make your parents feel grateful? Try being filial for once. No, I was planning to do it from now on. Enough. Also, I heard from Emily. You've been wandering around, stealing even your wife's smile. Do you realize how much she's been struggling? Okay, I get it. Forget the money, then. But I heard from Emily about the succession of the company. Won't you let me take over the company? My parents-in-law were taken aback, and silence followed. Such a convenient fellow. But it's too late. No, it was a mistake to even consider leaving it to someone like you. There's still time. I'll really work hard this time.
The company will be inherited by Emily. We've decided.
What? Why Emily?
Jake exclaimed in surprise.
It's embarrassing as your parents. After years, you show up only to talk about money again. We can't trust a morally bankrupt person like you with the company. She can't handle it. She can't manage such a big company like Dad's. People won't follow her.
My father-in-law sternly told Jake.
No, my mind's made up. Emily works tirelessly every day, and even took care of us. Despite her own hardships, she never once showed a frown, always prioritizing our care. I'm sure the employees will follow her. That's why I believe she can do it. Then, at least, hire me back at the company. Come on, you're still the CEO, right? Give me a good position again. Impossible. Who would want to work under someone as rotten as you? There must be someone. I'll change. Please, Dad. Shut up. I won't listen to anything you say. Now leave, and never show your face here again.
My father-in-law glared sharply at Jake, expressing anger and rejection. My mother-in-law approached from behind. Jake, you might not know this, but Emily is a wonderful person. Seeing her care for us every day, we're filled with gratitude. She may not be blood-related, but she's absolutely a family member to us. Her kindness and compassion have earned my utmost respect. Jake, you belittled such a person. Jake listened to his mother's words and deeply reflected. Jake, you've been given many chances before, but every time, you've repeated the same mistakes. We've spoiled you too much. That's why I don't want to lend you money or let you inherit the company. If you understand that, leave now. Jake stood in front of his parents, struggling to find words.
Dad, Mom, I'm really in trouble. I don't know what to do anymore. Please help me.
His father, while listening to Jake's plea, looked at him with a stern gaze.
Stop it.
Jake looked at his father with a face of despair, tears and snot unstoppable.
But I have nowhere to go.
His mother said in a calm tone. You need to learn from your actions and stand on your own. It's time for you to leave. Here, take this. His mother quietly handed Jake $1,000, crushing his heart further as he was commanded to leave by his beloved parents. Later, Jake reached Sophia, his lover's place, knocking on the door with a mix of anxiety and hope. However, the door was opened by Sophia and an unknown man.
Who's this guy? What do you want?
Jake, though confused, expressed his desire to see Sophia.
I'm sorry, I want to see Sophia.
The man stared at Jake suspiciously and said,
Sophia? Who's this guy? Hey Sophia, some weird guy's here.
Sophia came to the door from inside. Who's this guy? Wait, don't tell me you're cheating? It's fine, it's fine. Just a guy I used to hang out with. I've told you not to come here uninvited. Hey, what do you mean a guy you used to hang out with?
Jake was puzzled and shocked by her words. She looked down on him and said coldly,
I have no use for a broke guy like you. I heard about it. You quit your job and even your wealthy parents have disowned you. Your wife even called me. Damn it. Anyway, I only hung out with you because you had money. You're a nuisance to the neighborhood. Go away, you broke loser.
Jake was devastated by her words. Her cold attitude and rejection hurt him deeply. Laughable.
Hey, broke and ugly. Sophia's real deal was me.
You're really pathetic. Without any words to retaliate, Jake could only leave in silence, feeling his foolish actions and illusions about his lover shatter. Alone and in despair, he could only lament his mistakes.
I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten since last night.
Jake wandered the quiet nighttime streets alone, illuminated by the light of a store.
A store, huh? But I have no money.
Searching his pockets, Jake found, I found some money. It was the $100 his mother had secretly given him. Reflecting on his actions, he cried in regret.
Thank you, Mom.
The next morning, Jake found himself standing in front of the house he used to share with me. Filled with regret and sadness over his past actions, he hesitated but knocked on the door. I opened it, surprised, and stared at Jake's worn-out figure. My eyes held both anger and sadness, but also a hint of hope for him.
Jake?
Jake looked at me sheepishly, his heart stumbling over words, unsure of where to begin.
Emily,
He searched for the words but struggled to speak.
I'm really sorry.
I stared at him in surprise, doubting his words but also feeling his sincerity.
What's all this about suddenly?
Jake sighed deeply and walked towards me.
Everything I've done, the things I've said, it was all wrong. I've been disrespectful and terrible to you.
He confessed his feelings honestly. Jake continued desperately.
I'll work properly and never make you sad again. Trust me. I want to start over, just like before. I don't want a divorce.
However, I shook my head quietly.
That's impossible. Right, it's shameless of me to want to start over after everything I've done. Sorry.
After listening to Jake's words, I sighed deeply after a moment of thought. I looked at him with determination and continued.
Jake, I understand your words and I'll take them at face value. But it's not just about words, actions are important, especially for you now.
My voice was calm but carried a strong resolution.
If you're truly remorseful and willing to work hard again, I can let you work in the company I've inherited from your father, starting from the lowest part-time position. I can even support you with your rent since you seem to have nowhere to live.
What?
But undoing the divorce is impossible. And show real improvement. Contribute to the company your father built. That's the condition. If you can't do it, disappear right now.
My words were filled with trust and support for him, expressing my hope for his change while questioning if I could ever trust him again.
I'll do it. Please let me. No, let me work. All right, it's settled. Work hard and with sincerity. Don't leech off your parents. Got it?
My words were strict, reflecting both the harshness towards him and the pain in my heart. I clearly laid out the conditions for regaining my trust.
Okay. If I can regain your trust, that's all I need. Thank goodness. I'm saved. My trust doesn't matter anymore. We're divorced, remember? Just give your parents peace of mind. And don't forget about their care. Yeah, I got it.
Days later, Jake reflected on his mistakes and started working earnestly at my company. Perhaps tired of being criticized and rejected by his lover, he quickly aspired to climb up, earn his own money, and live a better life, working feverishly. Whenever we met in the company elevator, "Hi, Emily. I'll work harder so you can give me more tasks."
How are your parents? Yes. They're doing well. I go straight to their house after work to help with dinner.
Despite his awkward formality, seeing him work so hard was amusing yet reassuring, as he was keeping our agreement. I knew I had spoiled him too much. But with his parents' care and Jake under supervision at work, it brought a sense of relief, and my health improved significantly. Ultimately, it turned out for the better, convincing me that my decision was right. The thorn that had been lodged in my heart for so long seemed to have been removed, and I felt like peaceful days had returned.